Here's my kids on Dave J. Hey! This week on Dave J. Tuesday. Hey everybody, welcome to another installment of Dave J. Tuesday. I am your humble host, Dave J. from New York City, songwriter, performer, storyteller, characters. Welcome one and all. It is Tuesday, March the 16th, 2021, and we've got a special show for you tonight. We're going to be looking back over a long history of performing for the kids. Why? You say, I want to know more, Dave. I say, well, first, you let us know here who you are, what you're doing, where you are, and all the good things that you remember from your childhood right there in the commenter section below. First, though, I want to start with a little story. I was a 16-and-a-half-year-old Dave J. in Livingston, New Jersey, and I needed a summer job. I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. I had spent most of my summers in sleepaway camp, but now I wasn't in the sleepaway camp. I wasn't working in the camp, but I was lucky because I got a job with Mr. Lowy. You know Mr. Lowy? Sweet, somewhat effeminate fellow with a bushy mustache. Harmless, really. Hey, Andy Wasserman, you know Livingston, New Jersey. Did you know Mr. Lowy? Welcome. I'm glad you're here, Andy. Would love to catch up with you soon. In any case, let's catch up with this story. Mr. Lowy hired me to take part in some kind of summer camp at Collins School on Arlington Drive. I think that one was Collins Elementary School. And they were having a summer program. And I was hired to work as an assistant to the gym teacher. And the gym teacher, a very nice man, don't remember his name, barely remember what he looks like, just remember him being a nice guy who I said, well, what do you want me to do? And he would tell me what to do, and I would do what he'd tell me what to do. That's what I did. Okay. Beetle Mike Fonts has arrived, and he says, hey, Dave J., Beetle Mike here. Yeah. And hey, Andy, it's from Beetle Mike. Feel free to greet each other. That's something we are customarily doing here at Dave J. Tuesday. Anyway, back to the Mr. Lowy story. So I did what the gym teacher told me. I don't even really remember what it was. I just did. I played along with the games that we were doing with the kids with the balls or whatever it was. End of the summer comes. Mr. Lowy calls me into his office. I think, oh, okay, well, what's this all about? It must be something nice. After all, he's a very sort of soft fellow, you know, with a bushy mustache. Nothing at all threatening about the man, except maybe he didn't clip his nails. That sometimes I noticed seemed a little threatening, but not in an overt way. In any case, he says to me, Dave, sit down. So I sit down. I'm like, okay. He says, you are the first person I will never hire again, or something like this. I'm like, well, why not? I didn't even say that. I think I didn't say anything. I was speechless. I was stunned. He said, basically, that I played with the kids the whole time, and that he never had an employee who just went and played with the kids. It was supposed to be there in an instructional way, but I was just flabbergasted by the whole thing. But it's an instructive story, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll tell you why. Because what I went on to do, and I'm still doing in some facets of my career, is what I would call letting out the big kid in all of us. And so I embarked on a career as a writer, as a singer-songwriter, as a character actor in my early 20s, and eventually turned it into a thing that I call Kids love Dave J. And there's a little logo we came up with in recent years for the project, and all the various performing that I do for kids is all under the moniker, more or less, of Kids Love Dave J. It's been under other monikers like Insightful Entertainment. But you say to yourself, well, how did you come up with this really cool name, right? Kids Love Dave J. What is that all about, Dave? Well, I'll tell you. I one day heard the great rapper, you know, LL Cool J. I heard him in an interview, and he was explaining how he got his name. And I said, ooh, this sounds interesting. Why don't I let LL pick it up from here?
Actually, it was kind of wishful thinking. When I was younger, I wanted my name to be Ladies Love Cool James. When I was talking to Rick, and I told him my name was Ladies Love Rick Rubin, when we started Def Jam, and I said, Ladies Love Cool James. He said, a little long for the label. We were just sitting there, well, why don't we just make it LL? Yeah, let's just make it LL.
Well, actually, just a funny aside, I met Rick Rubin's parents at my parents' development probably about 4 years ago. They were looking to move and retire to Florida in one of these developments. And they said, excuse me, young man. They saw I had a guitar. And of course, they were very excited to share that they were Rick Rubin's parents, the big producer, Mom and Dad, if you didn't know. And I don't know if they ever spoke with you, Mom and Dad. I gave them your number. I said, if you have any questions about the development, I'm sure my parents will help you. It'll only be for the slight fee of a record contract. Where it is, there it is. Anyway, let's continue on because there's so much to get to. Well, eventually, if you've gotten to know my act, you've seen this kid's promo. This is what people see when they want to book me these days. Here it is.
Please welcome Dave J. Gerstein.
Dave J.
He's a songwriter from Flushing and a YouTube sensation.
A visit from Dave is going to be a fun-filled day. The children are going to laugh, they're going to have fun, they're going to sing, they're going to dance. It's interactive for the children, and adults love it as well.
First time I saw him, I was blown away. I had no idea what to expect. He puts everything he has into any performance I've ever seen him do.
I just love the excitement and fun and energy that Dave has with the kids. It's really a fun party with Dave.
He's excellent with children. Excellent, excellent, excellent.
The kids love him. We love him. The whole show is great.
He's a delight. He's just so engaging, and the kids really love listening to him.
He has a rare ability to both engage and entertain.
Dave J is incredible. He really knows how to get the kids involved.
The kids know all the songs. They sing along. They dance.
She was captivated the entire time.
Here's the real king. Dave loves what he does. And that's why we love Dave.
And so you see, it all comes down to just letting out the big kid in all of us. In fact, I wrote a song called Big Kid just about this very subject. It was on my kid's record, Balloon to the Moon, available at record and tape stores everywhere near you. I love saying things like that. Of course, there are no stores open anymore because, well, you know why. Anyway, it went something like this. Big kid, I can't get rid of that part of my heart, 'cause I'm a big kid and I won't change. All the other grown-ups think it's strange. I said age is just a number. Age is just a number. You can count on me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Age is great to be alive. There's a little bit of it for you, but let's get going, because let's face it, I didn't start fully formed as a kids performer. No. I had to start somewhere. And I want to thank my brother and his family, in particular my sister-in-law Sandy, because when she had, along with my brother, my niece Emily, they needed someone to perform at her first birthday party. They said, oh, Uncle David, here's a list of kids' songs. Why don't you learn these and play them at Emily's first birthday party, and so with songs like Wheels on the Bus and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And I learned these songs. It was pretty straightforward. And I found, as I sat on the floor in this restaurant, disgusting. The party was great, though. Anyway, I was doing a little shtick off of what was going on in the room. Kids are very unpredictable, as you know. And I was getting laughs from both the parents, my brother and sister-in-law's friends, as well as the kids. And so I just found something kind of worked. It didn't quite lead immediately to me trying to do kids' gigs. In fact, over the years, every year, I would play my niece, Emily's, and eventually my nephew Matthew's birthday parties. Just to give you a fun little history, here's a song that I wrote for my niece Emily's birthday around the time of her bat mitzvah. I'll give you a little history of some of that and more, but it's just a song that I really like and I always get emotional over, so I thought I'd share. This is the dramatic and emotional part of the show. Enjoy.
Held you in my arms the day you were born. 13 years didn't take so long, but all we ever really have is now. And standing here with you, I feel so proud. So smile. Your rockstar birthday and my backstage pass, memories forever meant to last. Watching you grow up and dance and sing, designed to go from your mind and then to bring a smile. And I'll always be thinking of you. While I cannot always be here with you, take this in, and if there's one thing I want to give you, it's a smile. So smile. Got its way of honoring its kin on a special day. So all our hearts, they beat for you tonight, to top it off and make it all just right. We smile, you know we love you. I'll always be thinking of you. While we cannot always be here with you, take this in, and if there's one thing we want to give you, it's a smile. Can't wait for what the future has in store. If I think about it, I just want more, 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 more. So smile, you know I love you. I'll always be thinking of you. While we cannot always be here with you, take this in, and if there's one thing we want to give you, it's a smile. So smile,
I'm smiling. I hope you are too. You know, before I even became a kids performer, aside from playing Matthew and Emily's birthday parties, I really made my foray into performing for children in the theater scene here in New York City. There were all sorts of ads in the back of Backstage, a newspaper that would come out. I believe it was every Thursday, but I may be confusing it with the Village Voice. Concurrent with the children's theater stuff, I was doing my own band, The Sound of Monday, you may have heard of before from me. More on that in another episode. But in the children's theater realm, there was a place called the Grove Street Playhouse down on, naturally, Grove Street, run by Marilyn Majeski, and she put on a production of Aladdin, and I was cast as Jafar, the villain. We couldn't use the real names other than, I guess, Aladdin, because Disney was very litigious. Litigious, word of the day.
Word of the day.
And I should tell you, word of the day is something, if you haven't watched before, it's something, I love words, I love verbiage. You know I don't shut up for a minute. Well, we always have one or more words of the day when we come upon in the middle of, because this is not scripted, this is all off the cuff. And so, when I happen to mention a word that I like, I just word of the day you with the little bumper, and there we are. And then we just continue on with the show. So don't be flummoxed. That would be a good word of the day. Flummoxed, word of the day, see?
Word of the day.
Don't be flummoxed if there are several words of the day. Continuing on, another show that I did that was a really great experience down on 21st Street here on between 5th and 6th Avenue was what was the name of that theater? I don't recall, but we did a show there where I was cast. I was the only performer in the show. It was called One of Our Monsters is Mything. Mything. Here's a picture from the show. Oh, isn't that a look for me? I'll tell you what. Yes, it is. I played 6 different characters in the show. That was one of them. It was all based on Greek mythology, and I kept switching between costumes. It was so much fun. Boy, oh boy. It was in between jobs for me. I had, I believe it was around 1996, beginning of 96. I had quit a job or rather I'd been fired from a job in 95 by a guy who went to a federal prison eventually. But anyway, more on that another time. And One of Our Monsters is Mything was one of the first shows I did. And then I did Aladdin, the one I mentioned. And actually my niece Emily, who you just saw, came to that show. I don't think Matthew was born yet. It was the late 90s. She was a little girl. So, and my brother and sister-in-law and Emily were still living in Manhattan. In any case, I started wondering how I can get out and perform more, and what fell in my lap in around 1999 was a job at NYU's Stephen D. Hassenfeld Children's Cancer Center. I worked there as an assistant, and all these performers would come in, and I'd say, well, how do you get to perform for all these kids? And one of the nice people who you saw in a previous video, in my promo video, was Kathy Lord, and Kathy introduced me to HAI, a nonprofit that stands for Hospital Audiences Incorporated. Sadly, they've gone under since, but under the auspices of Hospital Audiences was Kathy's organization called Music That Heals, that at that time focused on children, seriously ill children. They've now expanded to seriously ill kids and adults. And I started getting gigs through Kathy, through Music That Heals, through HAI, that would send me to all sorts of children's facilities, schools, facilities for children with special needs, children's hospitals, and I purchased a device thinking I have to figure out what I can do for kids, because the stuff I would improvise at my niece and nephew's birthday parties, well, some of that stuff made it in, and then eventually I started going to my niece and nephew's public schools, their elementary schools in Florida. They moved down to Florida eventually, and I started working in some of the bits I'd improvised there. And I bought this device. It's called a Roland Loop Station. You can see on the left where you can work it with your foot, and on the right where you can also just bend down and push a button. And I started using that device. I'd put all sorts of sound effects in it as little dance sequences and stuff that I'd put together as little breaks in the show, because I was still trying to work out the material. Now this was long before I had the Spider-Man theme that I recorded with my band The Sound of Monday, that by now, as you know, recently hit 2 million streams on Spotify. Go to Spotify and check it out. You will really dig it. And, well, speaking of the material that I worked out over the years, there were a lot of set bits. It really became a comedy routine with music for kids. That's how I always looked at it. Having a stand-up comedy background, I had done a lot of stand-up in the 80s and 90s, early 90s, and, cheers. And so, what ended up happening, just to give you a little build up to what I'm about to show you, over the last year we've had the pandemic, of course, and Kathy, aforementioned from Music That Heals, put together a program for virtual performance for the children and adults that really need it, and it's called Through the Window. And if you want to donate to Music That Heals, it's musicthatheals.org. I highly recommend this organization. And so I started putting together material starting last April for different performances for children. And I'm going to show you now a compilation of some of the things I've done for organizations such as Howard Haber and Francis of Paola, and some of the bits that I worked out from my niece and nephew's birthday parties through performing at all these facilities and kids' parties and all sorts of events. And here's a little compilation for you now.
Hi, boys and girls. I'm your pal, Dave J. Brought to you by Music That Heals. Let's hear it for the kids and staff at Howard Haber. That's good, but let me hear you even louder. I can't hear you. Woo! That was fun. Can we do it again?
Greetings to you, my dear friends at Francis of Paola. Allow me to introduce you. Francis, Paola, Paola, Francis. Welcome to the Dave J. Show. And now, let's begin by asking a very important question.
How are you doing today? What's that? I cannot hear you. I forgot to warn you. These things are very sensitive. I wonder where these go. Does it go here? Because I'm very happy to see you today. No. Does it go here? No. I know. It goes here.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, but I can smell you all very loudly. Can you do me a favor? Can you point on your own head where these go? Oh, you mean they go here?
Yes!
Thank you very much. Well, it's a good thing I brought my backups today.
Because I just got off the phone with a very close friend of mine. He owns a huge farm. And, I don't want to brag or anything, but he's pretty famous. I don't want to drop names, but you may have heard of him. He goes by the name Old MacDonald.
Ooh.
That's right. Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-Q. E-I-E-I-D. E-I-E-I-W? E-I-E-I. Oh, well, why didn't you say so? Well, you may know that, but do you know the names of the animals on his farm? Well, let's find out together, okay? Old MacDonald had a farm. buck gang. Everywhere a buck. On that farm he had a sheep. Oops, you said sheep, not sleep. With a ba-ba here and a ba-ba there. Here a ba, there a ba, everywhere a ba-ba. Sorry, sometimes I get stuck. Old MacDonald had a farm. Yard. Gotta use my operatic training somewhere. Yard. Bob. 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 Bob.
Well, we want to welcome Jeff Friedman to the proceedings. How you doing, Jeff? And Jeff has an interesting question. He says, what's the deal with the shirt that you wear every week? Well, Jeff, don't you know the only way to get this thing in the Smithsonian is to brand it? And so, that's what I am doing. And besides, the laundromat, it's a far walk from here, and I don't really have time for, and I just sort of went to I thought it would be easier if I could just, what I'm trying to say. Well, the gigs right there that you saw online were preceded by gigs at many different places, as well as kids' parties and bookstores like Books of Wonder, the largest independent children's bookstore in New York, and Rego Center, where I performed many, many times, both as a kids performer and as Santa Claus, another sideline that I do for kids and adults. And it was a lot of fun to do those gigs, as well as many others. Did that explanation work for you, Jeff Friedman? I hope it did. In any case, moving along, what else have we got? Oh, well, here was a special gig. One day, on my birthday, I had a Music That Heals gig at a facility for children, uptown, special needs, and so forth. And they even painted me a sign and made me a birthday card. And it was such a special memory that I had to share it with you. One of the many songs that I like to play for kids in my gig, it's usually one that I like to close the show with, but now I'm going to just share it right here in the middle of the show, and you know it, because I've played it before. Up and at 'em, up and at 'em, good morning, mister, good day, madam, it's time to set out on our way. Up and at 'em, Earth to Saturn, there's so much to do, lots to fathom. I'm looking forward to today. Keep your heart out, Brian Wilson. Then I'll stop and look around. There's so much lost left to be found, and I'll hop from bed to ground. See the sight, smell the air, hear the sound. Enough to reach new stratum. I'm looking forward, come what may. Hey, you know what it's time for? Some Dave J, rather kids love Dave J, fan mail. Oh, look who we have, a letter from Jose, who says, Dear Dave, thank you for singing The Rock He doesn't mean Dwayne Johnson, does he? And you made us laugh, and you was funny. Boy, the school that I went and performed at really teaches the grammar there, huh? He says, I like your songs, and that's the important thing, really, isn't it? He says, I learned to hear different sounds on the guitar. I am happy you won the certificate. Please come back from Jose. And Jose, a very nice boy at my ex-girlfriend Jody's school. She was a teacher for kids with special needs who invited me to perform for her class in the late 90s. And I went and told them, I said to her, at that time I was very, very new to this. I said, in fact, I hadn't even really performed other than my niece and nephew's birthday parties. In fact, just my niece's birthday parties if it was the late 90s. My nephew was born in 99. So I said, well, Jody, what am I gonna perform? She said, just tell him about the guitar, tell him how you write a song, tell him about your experience. I said, oh, that's why I dated you, because you had sense. So that's just what I did, and that's what he was referring to. The certificate was an honorable mention that I got in a lyric competition or two. Moving along, I eventually created projects, some that I had originated not necessarily as a kid's thing, some sort of as a kid's thing, and eventually later as a kid's thing. I'll let you know what I mean. You see, I was very inspired as a kid. You see, let me step back a moment. When I was a kid, well, wait a second. Beetle Mike has a comment. Let's chime in here. Beetle Mike and Jeff Friedman and greeting each other there. And now Beetle Mike says, I thought that your bowling shirt, that was a bowling shirt and you were part of a league or something, I guess he means. Bob's got your lane reserved after the show. Yes, that's a ritual. After each Dave J. Tuesday program, I like to go down to the local Eagle Rock Lanes in Hanover, New Jersey. Where was that, Mom and Dad? Eagle Rock was a bowling alley we used to not only have birthday parties at, but we'd go bowl. I can't bowl anymore, by the way, and this is a true story, and it's sad but true. The last two times, literally, the last two times I went bowling, I pulled my ass muscle. I was going to do a ba-dum-bump, but it's not even worth it. It's true. I bowled the thing, and oh my God! I didn't even know I had a muscle there. It was terrible. All right, let's get back to the program at hand. Would you please? Thank you. Decorum at all costs. Decorum, word of the day.
Word of the day.
Okay, so, basically, as I was starting to tell you, I was a big fan growing up, as a lot of us were, of Schoolhouse Rock. But the thing about Schoolhouse Rock, which some of you may know, my parents probably don't. It was a thing on Saturday morning. They would play amongst the cartoons. They were educational little animated shorts, and they would tell you everything from about the Constitution, what that was about, or how a bill was passed, to a math issue, to an English thing like the conjunction. Who the hell even knows what a conjunction is anymore? But that's what they would teach you. And it was started by an advertising executive who had a connection at ABC Television, who actually had a problem with his son not learning his math stuff, his grammar stuff. He knew every lyric, his son did, of every rock album that was big in those days, but he was, this again, I already used it as a word of the day, the ad executive was flummoxed that his son wouldn't learn the other stuff. So he said, I know, if I use rock and roll to teach the kids about grammar and math and so forth, we'll call it Schoolhouse Rock. He made a deal with ABC, and the rest is history. Well, this had a big impact on me and a lot of others. I was beginning to tell you before I got distracted with the whole bowling shirt fiasco. Fiasco, word of the day.
Word of the day.
Okay. The thing was, when I was growing up, and as many of you were growing up, there was no kids' music. There was music. Mainly there was just music. And if it was the Beatles, if it was the Beach Boys, if it was AC/DC, and a kid dug it, well, then it was for kids and adults. It wasn't like kids' music. Now everything is so specialized. It's why I can't find my way in this world. I'm a variety man in a specialized world. It's really confounding. Confounding is a word of the day. I can't help myself.
Word of the day.
Well, anyway, in 1990, I produced a show my senior year of college. It was a live program at Ithaca College on ICB TV, and it was sketch comedy, it was music, and it was live. And I had an internship at Saturday Night Live the year before, so I had a lot of experience in understanding what went into a live show. So I did this thing, and among the many sketches was a sketch I wrote called The Punctuation People. Here, now in its original inclination, in its original derivation, in its original form. Let's just keep it simple for you fine folks, and for my own tongue. Here now, never shown before by me, here now are the original punctuation people. Enjoy. Oh no! I didn't mean to show that. You know what? Here now are... Well, screw it. While I'm here now, I forgot to tell you, on the bottom are the punctuation people that I eventually produced with the help of the brilliant Elena Montijo, who produced those drawings on the bottom and created animatics. I'll show you those shortly. In the top, in the early mid-90s, 96, 97, I drew those drawings, and I'm going to get back to those. First, you see, live television, it's that's how it goes. Here now, wait a second. What was I about to show you? I got all confused. You know what? I don't think I uploaded it. Somehow, in the hubbub of trying to... So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to try to find it. That's what I'm going to try to do. If I can find it, I have to share this with you. And if I didn't upload it, I'm going to be bummed, because I may not have uploaded it. Well, we'll fix it in post. You have to see this. This is brilliant. Oh, goodness. Well, you know what? No time like the present. I'm going to actually upload it as we speak, and we're just going to go a little bit over. So you're going to bear with me, and this is live television at its finest. And I'm going to say PP TNS. That'll help it. And I say OK, and then I'm going to go. Don't worry, it's going to be fine. I hope this doesn't screw up everything and throw me off the air. And I'm going to say TNS PP, and I'm going to just go here. This is worth it. Trust me, this will be worth it. Browse. Okay. Desktop. And then Dave J. Where did I have this stuff? Kid Show. And then Dave J. I can't believe I didn't upload this. Well, I was in a real rush earlier, you see. And there it is. Say okay.
Hi, my name is Barry Corbin. I'm one of the cast of the live show. And you know, the live show is meant to entertain, to let us sit back from our time and relax. But after we do that, there are some problems that still exist in society. One of those things is recycling. I'd like to present the punctuation people with a little word of recycling.
Good evening.
What?
Not yet.
Okay, sorry. Do I go now?
Stop asking questions.
I didn't mean it. Are you mad at me?
Shut up!
You're always yelling at me. I don't know why.
Recycling. It's an extremely serious issue. Now, I'm not going to bore you with a long harangue, but recycling is essential. And there are many things you can recycle.
Like what?
Such as?
Paper goods? Cans? and cardboard and stuff.
Can we end this?
Why do you want to end it?
Do you stop asking questions? Did you stop whining?
This is my big
serious issue here.
Why do we have to end it?
What are you damn...
Hey! Cake pasta!
You always do that in an
Why are you always yelling?
All right. Wait. I can't go with this anymore. Wait, this is terrible. Here, forget it. I'm not working with you anymore. I meant to break the news to you, but NBC signed me on a new history series, Colonialism in America.
Stop
I don't know what to people anymore. All right? No, look, I'm sorry, people. Scram.
He's out of the union. What? Let him
Scram. Hey, you can take your gloves back.
We should have gotten rid of that.
What are you doing?
Years ago.
I want to go back.
Useless.
Hi, I'm not a colon, but I played one on television, and I just thought that doing this sketch about recycling is just politically incorrect. I mean, here we are talking about recycling, and we're wearing foam. I mean, what does that say to our young kids in the audience? And actually, I also wanted to take the opportunity to say that my parentheses are in the audience tonight. My parentheses. Hi, Mom.
Okay, there you have it. I think it was worth it. In April 1st, 1990, Dave J, 21 years old. And there you have Brian Sack and Nicola Pytel, Sharon Simmons. If anyone knows where she is, please let us know. She was the period character. Andrew Daly, who you may have recognized as the comma, went on to great fame with Comedy Central, his own show, and he was on Mad TV as a featured player and so forth. Great guy and very talented, extremely talented theater major at Ithaca College, who was on our sketch comedy show, The Nothing Special. I hope Andrew and his family are doing well, as are all of those fine folks. And Sean Hanshaw, welcome, my friend. He says, I have the soundtrack on vinyl. I don't know to what you're referring, but I like it because I like vinyl. And I just blew your ears out because I raised my voice. I'm not sure if the settings were going to allow for that. But, you know, the point is, I took that punctuation people concept in the 1990s and I drew these pictures. That's what I was trying to say. On the top are the pictures I drew. And then in around 2007, I hooked up with this great artist and animator named, as I told you, Elena Montijo, who drew these characters and produced several episodes, of a few of which I'm going to show you now, the theme song and the episode. Here are the punctuation people. Yes, just like Schoolhouse Rock. I mentioned it earlier, Sean, and here it is, the punctuation people.
The punctuation people will give you the facts about punctuation and how each acts. They make words easier for you to read. A special lesson will keep it brief. On parentheses and spot that's our puppy. Comma cast takes a breath to answer question mark wit. Then on period says we're done. We hear 3 cheers from Miss Exclamation. Punctuation people will give you the facts in a fun act. The punctuation people.
There you go. There's the theme song from the punctuation people. Any case, moving right along from the punctuation people, I said to myself, what else can I come up with? Well, actually, that's not true. I went on performing for kids and so forth. Let me follow my list here of what I've got for you. Oh, that's right. Now's the part of the show where I'm supposed to play a little song. Okay, here's another track from my CD for kids, Balloon to the Moon. Here's a song, a piece of one anyway, that's called The Eyes Have It. Eyes have it, they can see lovely visions of you and me. The eyes have it, the eyes have it, the eyes have it. The ears can't read. The ears have it, they can't hear, they can hear lovely visions of why and where. Oh, screw it, we're running late. Anyway, moving right along, the point is, there's another project that came after the punctuation people that, in my estimation, is the best work I've ever done. It's called 1 Minute Autobiography. And you say to yourself, well, I've seen your 1 Minute Autobiography. Or you say to yourself, I've never seen or never heard of your 1 Minute Autobiography. Whatever it is, you need to know the origin of 1 Minute Autobiography. And for that, more footage that you have never seen before. I've never shared it publicly. When I was on The View in 2004, it just so happened that I had booked this thing that actors do. You plunk down your $75 and you get to take part in this whole night, and it happened to take place the night after I was on The View. You book it months in advance, so it was before I knew I would be on The View. And so at the end of July in 2004, you do your monologue for all these industry folks, and you go table to table. You have 5 minutes with each person after the monologue. And I met this one guy who was a manager in Connecticut, and he said to me, your monologue stunk. I don't mind, I don't want to mince words. We have 5 minutes. He said, but I happened to catch you on The View last night, and I do this thing called the Connecticut Comedy Festival, and it happens every autumn. You ought to audition. I thought nothing of it, but a week before the Connecticut Comedy Festival audition, in September, October 2004, he invited me to audition. I hadn't done stand-up comedy in over 10, 15 years maybe, so I was like, oh no, I've got to come up with material. So I just off the cuff started coming up with, well, what do? I do character voices, I do this, I do that, I do impressions. Anyway, I threw this thing together, and lo and behold, I passed the audition. I made it to the semifinals, which was Friday night of that era of time. And then, oh my goodness, I actually passed that audition. I made it to the finals, and then they made me the opening act. Rob Bartlett, the great character man you may have seen on the Imus show and other places, was the MC that night. And here are a few moments of what I did, where I created, off the cuff that week, 1-minute autobiography as it stood then.
Our first performer, kicking off tonight's festivities, Mr. Dave J. Gerstein has a background in both music and comedy, which makes him, as we like to call it, a double threat in the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Mr. Dave J. Gerstein.
You know, folks, life is too short, and to accentuate that, I present to you tonight 1-minute autobiography. 1-minute autobiography. 1 minute to get to know me. My lifetime condensed for you to see. 1-minute autobiography. My name is Beatle 4.5. You know, because everyone always yaps about who is the fifth Beatle. Good evening, folks. I'm glad you good folks elected a Jewish senator. But did you have to hold your comedy festival on Yom Kippur? My wife Hadassah thinks I'm in the toilet at shul right now. Now, for those of you with shorter attention spans, I bring you 10-second autobiography. Mini history made more tiny, 1/6 the size, but still a prize trophy. It's Dave J. Vegetable Coach. Do you want to be an asparagus? Or do you want to be an asparagus? I'm Dave J, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the show. Good night. Dave J. Gerstein, ladies and gentlemen.
In case you didn't know, those folks in Connecticut love asparagus. And their senator at that time was Senator Joseph Lieberman, who ran for vice president of the United States at that time, or a little later, actually. And he, like myself, a member of the tribe. What else have we missed in the comments section? Nothing much. So we're going to continue on. We're going to start to bring the show in for a landing very shortly, but not before I share with you the fruit of the labor that you just saw from 2004. The year was 2010. Beginning of the year, January 2010, I said to myself, goodness gracious, what have I got? What am I working on? What can I do creatively new that I haven't done? I had a space for creative endeavor. No kidding. And I said, okay, I'm going to go in the Lenny. I'll take that 1-minute autobiography idea that I did back in 2004, and I'll make it about 1-minute songs that are about iconic figures from history singing about themselves. 1-minute autobiography. And here is a sample for what I created, both audio-wise with my buddy Lenny Monticello, as I've talked to you about, the great, brilliant singer-songwriter, producer. And then I brought it to the great, brilliant, equally brilliant Evan Seplow in his studio to do the video stuff. And worthy of mention, Edwige Nordelis, who helped me with the costuming and the makeup for these characters, every one of them. Here is 1-minute autobiography, the first episode, with the theme song.
1-minute autobiography. 1 minute for you to get to know me. My lifetime condensed for you to see. Where, when, why. Just a vignette for a minute. A slice of my whole history. 1-minute autobiography.
Carry the 2. E equals MC squared. Oh, hello there.
I am Albert Einstein.
Hey Einstein.
I'm a scientist.
Hey Einstein.
Und a physicist.
Hey Einstein.
Ja.
You're a genius.
Filled my head with knowledge and used my imagination. E equals mc squared, my most famous equation.
Hey Einstein.
I'm a scientist.
Hey Einstein.
Und a physicist.
Hey Einstein. You're a genius.
I made big discoveries about the speed of light. My theory of relativity proved that I was right. Let's sing.
Hey Einstein, you're a scientist. Hey Einstein,
the physicist.
Hey Einstein,
I'm a genius.
To find out more about Albert Einstein, visit your local library.
John Cameron Swayze, a comment that was made a while back by Beetle Mike, and I'm not sure I remember who John Cameron Swayze was. No relation to Patrick, I presume. But you let me know in the comments section below. We're going to start bringing the show in for a landing, but not before I share with you one other thing, and that is a company called Ignite Learning was aware of some of the stuff I had done, and I applied for a job with them, and they allowed me to make some videos for them, or rather some songs for them that they made the videos for. Most notably was one called Sunny Day, and here, I don't know why they didn't credit me as Dave J. They thought Johnny sounded cooler. Here was a song I did for them.
Hi, I'm Jasmine, and welcome to The Music Show. As you all know, weather forecasts tell us how hot or how cold it is and if it's going to rain. Here to tell us more about it is Johnny with his new hit song, Sunny Day.
And for today's weather, it's going to rain all day.
It's raining today in my backyard. I stay inside, but it's oh so hard. I want to go outside and run in the sun, because this wet weather isn't any fun. I want a sunny day. I want to go outside and play. I call up my friends, but they all say they're staying inside because it's raining today.
And now for the weather around the world.
No one can see Paris because there's so much fog. New York is sunny, people are walking their dogs. It's winter in Sydney, there's snow on the ground. People wear coats as they're walking around.
That's right.
It's warm in London, the kids leave school. They're swimming and playing at the swimming pool. It's humid in Moscow, there are clouds in the sky. At the end of the day, friends are saying goodbye. And I want a sunny day. I want to go outside and play. I call up my friends, but they all say they're staying inside because it's raining today. Hey, look there, I can see the sun. It's shining brightly on everyone. People are laughing, I hear them say, now we have a sunny day.
Here comes the sun.
Let's play.
I hope that your day tomorrow is as sunny a day as in that video. And hey, I hope you've had fun, like we said in that video, tonight. Because after all, it's now that we need to have that fun more than ever. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight on Dave J Tuesday. Tonight, as ever, every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at facebook.com/, that's my sound for slash. Some people might have done with a nose ring and a hat. You know, the guy from Guns N' Roses. Anyway, I digress. We should have a digress button. Maybe I'll come up with one of those soon. In any case, for now, It's been a lot of fun bringing you the story, for the most part, of my performance as a kid's artist and other things. And I'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Stay safe. And I'm Dave J. This is Dave J. Tuesday.